This is the Profit from Legal podcast. I'm your host, Noel Bagwell. Whether you've listened to the podcast from the first episode or you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. The Profit from Legal podcast is brought to you by Executive Legal Professionals, PLLC, also called ExecutiveLP, an innovative virtual law firm based in Nashville, Tennessee. At ExecutiveLP, we work with businesses to transform their legal support from a cost center to a profit engine. And that's what we talk about on this podcast. Our semi-monthly regular episodes and frequent interviews with interesting professionals bring our audience of savvy entrepreneurs and business decision makers useful insights for getting the most out of their legal support. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message. Welcome back to another episode of the Profit from Legal podcast. I'm your host, Noel Bagwell. It's about 9:55 p.m. local time on July 15th as I record this, and this episode is going to be a little different from the ones that I've done before. I just want to kind of open the kimono a little bit and talk about some program development. This is a pretty special episode of the podcast, so I appreciate you tuning in and bearing with me as it's kind of late and I probably don't sound like my usual self. For the last few months, I've been reviewing and revising the original design of the Profit from Legal program. Initially, when I conceptualized Profit from Legal, I wanted it to be a very robust service. I wanted to install in a business from the very beginning a mature legal operations function. For the next few minutes, though, I want to tell you about why I've pivoted in a slightly different direction. I genuinely believe that legal operations is the key to consistently and predictably delivering proactive, profitable legal support to a business. General counsel providing preventive legal support might already be profitable to their business client, but often at the outset of the engagement, there's no justifiable reason to expect that preventive legal support to be profitable for the business. Just as often, the general counsel attorney struggles to communicate their value proposition to the client if they make the effort at all. I wanted to design Profit from Legal to change that. I want businesses to be able to hire general counsel, whether in-house counsel or outside general counsel, and from the very beginning of that relationship, have a justifiable reason to believe that the relationship will be profitable for the business. I want to make it easier, too, for general counsel attorneys to have meaningful conversations about ROI. I do not want legal support to be seen only as a cost center to a business. I believe that legal support can be a profit engine for a business. In order to transform legal support from a cost center to a profit engine, however, there are a few things that need to happen. First and foremost, one needs to determine the right legal data to collect and monitor. These data sets will determine which legal key performance indicators you select to track and try to improve. Then you need to design and roll out metrics and systems for tracking those metrics. These metrics I call legal key performance indicators or legal KPIs, and they register the impact that legal support has on a business, process, system, or function. Once a business has these legal key performance indicators in place and is tracking them, measuring the outputs, one can do periodic reviews in an effort to spot patterns and identify opportunities. Over time, this will help the business to improve short-term and long-term outcomes through legal data analysis. This is the very bare minimum for having the opportunity, the capacity to profit from having legal support, but it's not by any means the end of the story. And when I say the capacity to profit, I don't mean as a one-off or happy coincidence, but I mean as a predictable, consistent, expected result. When you're trying to solve the problem of how to profit from having legal support, that's ongoing, preventive, proactive legal support. The second piece of the puzzle is good financial management. Many, if not most, in-house legal departments, as well as outside general counsel providers, deliver to the C-suite or their clients very little clarity or predictability in their budgeting. Consequently, they often have to deal with budget shortfalls, interdepartmental tension, and a distorted framework for making decisions about investing in additional legal support or legal tools. Profit from Legal is designed to create a paradigm in which businesses can develop a confident, balanced approach to managing the cost of legal support. I want businesses to be able to efficiently and effectively deploy their resources and connect the dots for business owners between legal spend and improved business performance, even profitability. A legal operations function that makes this happen will have systems and processes that allow legal ops personnel to develop, monitor, and communicate about their budget. They'll be able to actually forecast legal expenses as they track the legal key performance indicators I talked about before and the activity in the legal department. They'll be able to use these forecasting reports and the other data that they're tracking to find new opportunities for savings and efficiency. Overall, this is going to mean that legal cost becomes more predictable and more consistent, and your financial planning will get better. Additionally, this will result in improved communication between departments, especially the finance department in your business, and good financial management can even extend to things like better managing e-billing. The third component of the minimum array of legal ops activities is the management of outside firms and vendors. Many times, vendors and outside legal support firms are selected for temporary reasons or because of personal relationships. And that's fine, but in-house legal teams and even outside general counsel don't always have clear alternatives or feel like they do. So they use the billable hour and traditional staffing solutions, which often are all but devoid of accountability and offer comparatively little value when examined next to industry-leading alternative legal service providers. I want to get our clients to the point where they have created and are sustaining strong outside counsel and vendor relationships closely aligned with the business's goals. For in-house legal departments, I want to make sure that they're attractive to top talent and know how to select and onboard personnel with experience and expertise that rounds out their team and enhances their capabilities. With regard to outside legal support, I want to make sure that the terms they offer clients are reasonably flexible, fair, and clearly articulated. Their contracts should promote transparency and accountability and have strong inherent incentives for putting clients' best interest first. Firm and vendor management doesn't just stop at designing requests for proposals that are clear and aligned with the business's needs, although that is essential. Profit from Legal also encourages the creation of models for negotiating rates and pricing that are incentive-oriented. Ultimately, the goal is to add more accountability and transparency to vendor relationships. I don't want our clients to simply trade time for dollars. Rather, I want them to have the power to draw a close link between legal spend overall and value delivered. I want to also think about viable ways to use vendors in innovative and different ways and stretch their services into perhaps new use cases in order to achieve operational efficiencies that other people may not have even thought about before in their traditional business workflows. Finally, all too often, there's almost no due diligence done on prospective vendors. And I want to create systems for performing that due diligence and reporting requirements to ensure that that happens, to make sure that there aren't conflicts of interest or other ethical issues. And I want to create assets for onboarding new vendors and firms quickly and efficiently. So we've made that part of Profit from Legal too. I realize there's much more to legal operations than just business intelligence, financial management, and firm and vendor management. When I originally designed Profit from Legal, I designed it to include not only these things, but much more. Over the last few months, however, I've come to realize that was probably a mistake. Because even though there's a lot more to legal operations than these three things, it's these that comprise the essential foundation for a legal operations function. They're a great jumping off point. For a business that has no legal operations function at all, our initial approach was probably overwhelming and too intense. Too big of an investment of time and money. Very few businesses are willing to spend $60,000 in 6 months to go from 0 to 1 on the setup of a legal operations function. Not to mention, a change like what we had originally planned may have seemed like it would have been too much of a shock to their operational ecosystem. Adding all the other things that legal operations can encompass beyond business intelligence, financial management, and firm and vendor management is probably better done gradually, after successfully laying a firm foundation on those three functional areas. So for those reasons, I've decided to narrow the scope of the Profit from Legal service. Of course, I'm already thinking about next steps, ways to build on this foundation, additional services that will expand functionality and add functional areas to the Profit from Legal foundation. For right now, though, I'm confident that scaling Profit from Legal down to an 8-week program and reducing the price point to $20,000 will mean this service becomes more affordable and accessible for more businesses. The value proposition for Profit from Legal has never been clearer. We've clarified the outcomes and are laser focused on empowering businesses to make smarter decisions, get control of their legal spending, and gain an edge when managing outside firms and vendors. For our ideal clients, those outcomes are worth at least $40,000 to $60,000 per year. For many, much more. And we're charging a flat fee of $20,000. I'm still not done tinkering with Profit from Legal, but I wanted to bring you this special bulletin today because I feel like it's in a very good place. The value proposition is strong, the objectives are clear, the services are refined and specific. For businesses that want to have a chance to improve their profitability using legal support and a chance at gaining all these other benefits, Profit from Legal is an amazing investment opportunity for them. For general counsel attorneys who may have struggled to communicate their value proposition or have a conversation even about return on investment from legal support, Profit from Legal is a really powerful tool. With Profit from Legal, GC attorneys will have what they need to have those conversations and clearly communicate the value they provide. For some of them, perhaps, they'll even be able to start billing based on that value rather than using the billable hour to trade time for dollars. I'm very excited about the opportunities to which our recent pivot has brought us several steps closer. Thanks for giving me the chance to share. I hope you found this special bulletin intriguing. As I continue to work on Profit from Legal, I'll bring you more updates, but that's all for now. Please be sure to subscribe to the Profit from Legal podcast on the platform of your choice. It really helps us if you'll also leave us a 5-star rating and a kind review. Share the podcast with your friends. Tune in again soon for another episode of the Profit from Legal podcast. Until then, I'm your host, Noel Bagwell. Thanks for listening.